Okay, back with hot stocks, and the stock that is hot is SKNL. Well, lots of reports doing the rounds, of course, about the SFIO investigation as well as the ROC investigation. Let's get into Nitin Kasliwal, Chairman and Managing Director of SKNL Group, who joins us on the phone line to talk about all of this. Mr. Kasliwal, good having you. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Now, give us more details about why is it that the SFIO or the ROC, as it may be, is even investigating the company in the first place.
No, actually, this is what I wanted to just clarify to you straight up front.
Sure.
You just mentioned about SFIO and ROC investigation. That's completely a wrong statement, if I may say so up front.
Sure.
First of all, there is no investigation at all. Let me just clarify the whole issue to you, okay? And I'll give you a background. I'll take 2 minutes to do that. Somebody filed a letter with SEBI in the month of May or June, I think. And they marked a copy to SFIO. The contents of the letter were pertaining to the subsidiarization of Reid Taylor. Okay? It was pertaining to the subsidiarization of Reid Taylor. Also, it was pertaining to some NCD that the company had raised from ADM Capital in 2007-8. Also, yeah, in that period. So it is nothing to do. There was a letter which was sent. Then it seems SFIO, they had marked a copy to SFIO. SFIO forwarded the letter to ROC as a routine. ROC wrote to the company in the month of August asking for a clarification of the points raised in that letter. The company clarified the points and sent it back to ROC. That's all. Now, what has happened in the meanwhile? It got picked up by the press somewhere in some way, and it got reported because SFIO was marked a copy of this letter, which was actually originally marked to SEBI. And SFIO in the routine sent it to ROC. ROC asked a clarification from the company. The company has already clarified and sent it to ROC. ROC is examining the clarification, and we are awaiting things. So there is no investigation. There is no investigation at all, either by ROC or by SFIO. It is a routine matter, if I may, from that perspective. So I myself, it's like a joke going on that, people have started to talk of SFIO and kind of stuff, which is not there at all. I mean, there's nothing to it.
As I understand, Mr. Kasliwal, that you have filed a reply to the ROC. Is this a probe of a nature that would require the registrar of companies to come into play in the first place?
No. Actually, it's not a probe. You're not understanding.
No, I'm not saying it's a probe, Mr. Kasliwal.
That's what I'm saying. So any complaint that goes or any letter that goes, it gets examined. So the ROC wrote to us a letter asking us to clarify the points. We have already clarified. I'll just tell you, it is pertaining to the subsidiarization of Reid Taylor. Now, Reid Taylor was subsidiarized from SKNL way back in 2008. At that time, the government of Singapore invested into the company 900 crores for a 25% stake in Reid Taylor. The balance 75% is owned by SKNL, and SKNL is a listed stock. So there is absolutely, it's a complete clarity. Shareholder approval was in place. The government of Singapore approval is in place. Government of Singapore is involved. UBS was the investment banker involved. I mean, it's a complete straight vanilla subsidiarization transaction. So the letter was just stating it that, the company subsidiarized Reid Taylor from SKNL, and there is no clarity as to what happened. It's absolutely not true. That is number one. Number two, there is the point about NCD raised by the company through ADM Capital, and the allegation was that we did not follow the proper procedures, which is again not true. Full procedures were followed. Shareholder approval was taken. Board approval is in place. Everything was in place, and this is way back in 2007, 2008.
Right.
So.
Right, Mr.
There's no probe. It's just a clarification seek which we have already done.
So now that you've clarified, does the matter come to rest, or will there be more negotiations or conversations between either the SFIO and yourself, or the ROC will be examining the matter a bit more?
No. The ROC, we have already replied to ROC. ROC is examining the matter. In my humble opinion, there is nothing to it which requires anyone else getting involved in any case. Nobody else is involved. There is no other agency involved in this excepting the Registrar of Companies Bombay office. And they have sent us a letter. We have explained to them. I'm just repeating myself for clarity's sake. And we are awaiting. So there's nothing to be done because there is nothing which the company did which was wrong. I mean, we follow, high corporate governance standards.
What are you waiting for? What will be the next course of action, you think?
Sorry?
You're saying that you're awaiting the next step from the ROC's
Not the next
end.
step. We're just, so the next course of action will be that, in my humble opinion, that's what I said, that, there is nothing more to it than the ROC just, because this is the truth what we've said to them. They are just examining it, and that's it.
Mr. Kasliwal, I'm sure you're of the opinion, of course, that the reply should be enough for the ROC to close the case. Just to get a clarity, were these the only 2 points that were raised by whoever the individual would or the entity would have been? And whatever you entail, is that the reply that you've given, or were there any further points that were raised as well?
No, this is what we replied. And also I think there was one more point about, there was a point about Brand House Retails and Reid Taylor, because Brand House Retails is the master franchisee of Reid Taylor. So there's a point raised about that, which is also completely clarified. So there's absolutely nothing. In fact, the government of Singapore is on the board of Reid Taylor. And, from that perspective, there's complete clarity and transparency in whatever is happening.
Sure. So by when do you expect this issue to be completely resolved? I mean, you issued your clarification, and how much time do you think this issue can be completely put to rest?
I'm sure it will be resolved very shortly. I don't see any reason why it should, go on for a long period of time. But, it's a process which, there's no process. I mean, it's just a matter of, that they examine it, and then if they want any more clarifications, I'm sure they'll ask us and we'll clarify. There's nothing. I mean, we are absolutely available to, issue any clarifications or any information or details that are required, which we have already done.
Okay, Mr. Kasliwal, good having you. Thanks so much for taking the time out and joining us and giving us clarification. SKNL, talking about the stage at which, not necessarily a probe really, but a stage at which this whole issue is. The ROC, on account of a complaint filed, which it was marked on, had asked SKNL for some clarifications, which the company has done. The company is confident that this would put the matter at rest. Of course, the ROC is investigating the replies of the companies and would get back after they have investigated or rather looked at the replies that SKNL has provided. However, naturally so actually, the stock is down 5.5% with news like these days. You don't expect stocks to actually be flat or even in the green. 5.5% off for SKNL in the current session.